So today I am live with Selena Konmacki, and she's a marketing strategist, website developer, and fractional CMO who helps entrepreneurs turn their marketing chaos into clear strategy. As the founder of Hailey, she is someone who works with business owners to build marketing systems that actually drive results. And one of her specialties is helping founders understand the data behind their marketing, especially how tools like Google Analytics, which is what we're going to talk about today, reveal what's working, what's not working, and where your next customers are coming from. So instead of drowning in dashboards and metrics, Selena teaches entrepreneurs how to use data in simple, practical ways that lead to smarter decision making. And she's originally from Hawaii, now based in Texas. She's passionate about helping business owners replace guesswork with clarity so they can grow their business with confidence. So I'm so excited to dig into this. And before we do, I just want to announce the show and who I am. You're listening to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name's Hailey Rowe. I'm a marketing and sales strategist and coach for early stage coaches and online wellness professionals who want to grow their business without the social media overwhelm and be able to do it with things like local marketing or LinkedIn or social media, but not posting all the time, not having to be a victim to the algorithm, all that good stuff. So, Selena, welcome. So excited
Hi,
you're here.
aloha, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited for today's conversation, especially when you get to talk with
Yes.
another marketer. I mean, we're going to just geek out a little
Yes.
bit today.
Amen. So tell
Right.
me about, for those who are listening and hearing about Google Analytics, can you tell us, first of all, what even is that and what do they need to have in place to be
Yeah.
able to use it?
Yeah. So, it does sound scary, but the thing you need to have is, and what most business people have, is a website. So if you have a website, this is one of my most favorite free tools that Google has, that you can add it's like a tracking analytics, right? It kind of lets you know a lot of little data points that are happening to your website when you're sleeping, when you're up. It's on 24/7. And so, as long as you have this website, a website that you are sending your traffic to, where you want like your main conversions to happen, right? If it's set up a discovery call, is it to download a lead magnet? Is it to, RSVP for an event? Depending on what kind of conversion you're looking at, it's nice to have Google Analytics be part of your marketing toolkit.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So if somebody wants to start doing this, where do they even
Mhm.
begin? What are some terms they should know and
Yeah.
how do they get started?
Yeah. So you're just gonna, I mean, look, let's like start like beginner level, right? Because it's techie, so it seems like it's scary, but it really isn't. Just type in Google Analytics in your browser, and that link is gonna come up, and you're gonna follow all of your prompts. You're gonna get to the main Google Analytics page, and it's gonna say start here, right? And then it's gonna have you do a couple of steps, and I think the two things that, if you're confident, and a lot of us DIY in the beginning of our businesses, right? So most of us have kind of built our first websites, right? They may not be the prettiest, but they're ours and we love it. So you'll have some knowledge. And if you're using Wix or Squarespace, they have things that say, oh, do you want to connect your Google Analytics account? There's a lot of websites that will help make it easy. You just need to create your Google Analytics account, which again is free. And so that's your first step. And so Google Analytics, that's the only word you need to know, right? There are other analytical tools, but this one is free. And today we're talking about Google Analytics.
Okay. So go through the next steps. I know you have
Yeah.
your talking points and mini training,
Yes.
so I'm going to let you roll
Right.
with it.
No, yeah. Okay, so I basically wanted to make sure, like, so when you download Google Analytics, what I love is it kind of like, one of the things is like understanding your traffic sources, and that's kind of what it does, right? It tracks like where this user has come from. Did it come from Instagram? Did it come from LinkedIn? Did it come from a referral? and the referral could be maybe a summit that you're part of, or a newspaper article that you wrote for. Or it's direct, like people are directly just typing you in, or even a Google search. And I think it's important to understand that first part of this traffic acquisition, right, is the term that they use when you're in the dashboard. So you can say like, man, I just spent like 100 hours on Instagram and not one thing came to my website. And it's a diagnostic tool, right? So it's supposed to say to you, okay, I can sit here all day long and say, I dedicate so much time to my Instagram account. I know that they're going to my website. Well, now Google Analytics says, hey, they're not. And so you can kind of analyze and say, what do I need to do to make sure people are going? Why are people not going from Instagram to my website to convert? And so you can kind of make a plan to say, I thought it was, and something that I'm doing is not converting, to get them over. Same thing for if you're running a big campaign through your email list, right? It will say that this came from an email mass email in your Google Analytics. If you thought, hey, why? I thought this is like the best idea, and I cannot believe my email list didn't generate enough clicks to get this offer. That the traffic coming to your site did not come from your offer. And so it just gives you like the data to sit on and to make a pivot if you need to, and reanalyze, right? Because we know as marketers, sometimes the first thing you try doesn't always work. But if it also works, you can contribute to, like, hey, yeah, my data does show that my efforts in this email campaign showed like 100 people came from here. Or, I mean, I know like everybody's going to say, but I have my own analytics in, whatever email software I'm using, right? Kit or MailerLite or whatever. And that's fine too. But it's just nice to have in one dashboard, like when you're looking, of all the different traffic that's coming. So you can really take a full glance of what's happening on your website as a whole versus one little piece that's trying to send information to your website. So that would be like the next step, is that part. So I'm not sure if you have any questions about that.
Yeah, no, go for it. I love it.
Okay. My next thing is kind of like when we're in there, like when you've set this up, and these are just like the easy steps, right? Is checking kind of your top pages. Like there's another area in there. So then you can take that to your marketing and saying, of all the traffic that does come to my website, where are people landing, and why? And is it the pages you want it to be? Right. And sometimes people are surprised by that answer. I worked with a client, and they were so sure that their top page was this number one event that she had. And she says, no, I know it. And we attached Google Analytics, and we were monitoring. And over a year, we were able to say, hey, like in a year's time, even though we said 3 months, because we wanted to really build up, in a year's time, it's actually the least looked at page. And I think what that did is it released her of like holding on to this, like, no, I know that it did, because I think, data tells the truth, and it really does help you kind of realign where you need to put your efforts. And I think as business people, we don't have all the time in the world to dedicate to that. And so those are the top two things that are really easy to go into and look at when you're starting out and creating this Google Analytics and getting your business used to what you're looking at and how to use it in marketing, right? Like I said, we're all building campaigns, and then for the most part, everybody does use, like I said, social media. And this is just nice to know when you do put those efforts, you can see real numbers, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I love about it the most. For another nonprofit that I worked with, we also use the numbers from Google Analytics to share with their sponsors the numbers of traffic that were coming to the website, to their event page, to their sponsorship page, to show like that their sponsorship dollars were being looked at. And it was nice to say, hey, from our Google Analytics data, we wanted to make sure we share this with you so that we're being good stewards of our money that you have put into this event. And so that can go across any board of any event that anybody's having, right? Is we can say, hey, just wanted you to know we did this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you good information. And it's so true that so often we assume, oh, I would know that this is my most popular page because this is the one I'm
Right.
promoting the most or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll be surprised, right? And it's the
Yeah.
same thing with, I have a Google Analytics to see my top podcast episodes or
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
top show notes
Exactly.
page.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And it also shows you too search engine results, right? Like, so how are people
Yes.
coming across your page in Google so you
Mm-hmm.
know what keywords to use maybe more of? So can you tell us a little more
Yes.
about how it relates to Google search
Yeah.
engine optimization?
Yeah, I mean, right, we get into that like SEO, that search engine optimization part of it, and I think what I like is there is a Google, it's in Google Ads, but you work and use it in conjunction with Google Analytics, but they have like a Google keyword planner, and it just kind of, that can help you, like you said, right, if you're wanting a particular article, maybe you're a blog article website, or you want your article, you you can look up words that are kind of pertaining to this article that you're writing and seeing like, are people searching for that, and so it will tell you, oh yeah, this word is in high volume or in medium volume, or and so it's kind of I mean, I think what I love about Google is they give you so many tools for free to help you optimize your website. And then again, using all their tools, you see what happens with Google Analytics, because you see that with the traffic, and in that particular, like, why did people find you in your Google Analytics dashboard? It will say, oh, these words were kind of heavy into why they landed on your page. I will tell you, having said that, it's funny. So my business is Hailey Socially Inspired, and it's Hawaiian. And there was a particular thing that I wrote in my about page, and it said Hailey means happiness in Hawaiian. My page would get found for that particular reference. But the
Oh my
thing
gosh,
is, yes. And
that's funny.
so I thought it was so funny, because I was like, oh, but so this is like when you can understand your numbers, but I was like, they're not people that obviously would come to my marketing website because they just wanted to know, what does Haoli mean? And they landed on my page. That has nothing to do with
Right.
teaching Hawaiian or anything like that. But when you have that kind of knowledge, you can understand like, oh, okay, maybe I need to tweak something on this page, or, why is it that my page is getting found? Like, great, I love traffic, but it's the wrong kind of traffic.
Totally. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So, what are some common maybe mistakes you see people making when it comes to using Google Analytics,
Yeah.
interpreting the results, that kind of thing?
I think right there is just, sometimes they just say, oh, they'll stop right at the number of users that have visited their site. That's the number one mistake, I think, is you have to really look under the dashboard and say, okay, well, where did these users come from? Because in Google Analytics, you can see what country they've come from. You can even get it down to city location or state. So you can say, is the traffic even relevant to your business, right? If you're a brick and mortar in New York, but it's only California users for some reason come to your website, something's not working. Maybe you have a Google ad or some kind of paid ad out there that is pushing the wrong kind of audience to your website. So I always say, don't just look at how many users came to your website and say, yes, it's done for the day. I've checked my report and I'm good. Take a look at it, take a look at the numbers, take a look at where they're coming from and who they are. So you can make sure that if you are paying for Google ads or you are paying for some kind of paid ads, you can make an adjustment there and not waste your money, because they're charging the wrong traffic and they're sending you the wrong traffic to your site. So this is one of the mistakes, is people don't really analyze. And I guess diving into Google ads a little bit more too, right? You making sure when you're using your Google ads is also making sure you're looking at the analytics in Google Analytics, so that you can ensure you're happy with what is coming to your website. Because this is where you can make decisions and say, this really isn't working, or is it not working? Like the page they're landing on, they're there for only a couple seconds, right? Because Google Analytics can even tell you the length of time, or the engagement rate is what it's called. That helps you analyze and say, something's not resonating either with the copy or with my photos, or the offer is maybe doesn't seem like it's enough value, or it's too expensive. It just gives you more to chew on and make your adjustment to when you have to say, hey, this is not working. This is the data that we're getting from Google Analytics about what we're doing here. So that's one mistake, or two. There's two mistakes is the user numbers, and then not using Google Analytics to kind of like see what's happening to your website. And I think really the third thing is just not using it when it's a free tool and it can give them information to help them in their business. Like that's the biggest one. They say it's too complicated, and I feel bad. Just somebody out there will say, I can help you set it up. It really is not as hard as you think.
Yeah. And I'm curious too, for anybody who's listening to this and they've maybe thought about Google Ads, but they don't know too much about it, or they don't know if it's right for them, or they don't know just like some expectations
Yeah.
of what they should expect. What would you tell them to kind of let them know if it's right for them, and how long they should be doing this, and how much
Yeah.
they should be investing, and all that kind of stuff?
So I think the first thing I would say to anybody wanting to do Google Ads is make sure that the converting, or the conversion page, the URL that you're sending them to, is ready and optimized. Like you're having a party and you need to clean your house, and you need to put out all the welcome drinks, and you have to make sure the food looks good. I've worked
Right.
with clients, right?
Oh,
Hailey, you
yeah.
know this, you're a marketer. People, I'm ready. And you go and you inspect because you have to promote that. And it's just clean the house before you spend the money, because you will waste money if your page is not set up properly, if it doesn't look intuitive for them to click a button to purchase, or click a button to grab this free lead magnet, whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, I had a client say, I'm ready. And then I went to go look at the page that they built themselves. I mean, which is fine. But I said, they didn't put a button anywhere.
Yeah. I totally know what you're talking about. So you need to have, and actually the freebie, we'll make the freebie of the day, you guys. I
Yeah.
have a free class taking you through how to have a good lead magnet page, like what goes at the
Perfect.
top, what goes in the middle, what goes at the bottom.
Yes.
It's available at haleyrowe.com/live event. But the whole point of what she's saying is sending traffic to a turd doesn't,
Yes.
they don't want to sign
Exactly.
up. They don't want to, sending traffic to a beautiful, very clear, captivating storefront that is, has a catchy headline, and right away you know what your call to action is, and all of that. It's going to convert way better. You're wasting your time sending something to a page that's not well put together, like you're saying, or you haven't tested it to make sure it even works.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad I just want to pause and circle
No.
this section of the
Yeah.
podcast, because that is so
Yeah.
important.
No. Yes. I think that's always been really the number one issue. Any client that I've come to is when they think it's okay, then it's ready. And it's not, you know what I mean? And so there's so much more prep, because sometimes you only have that one chance for that one person to land right on there. And so, I think, yeah, yeah, don't send them to a turd. Nobody wants to see a turd, right? When they click, it's just bad. Right. So,
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, and also with the
mhm,
ads, so is this something where, because I always tell clients, if you're going to do Facebook ads, like it's a
mhm,
long-term game. You're going to
yeah.
be, this is, you're going to have to test things. You're going to have to spend
Mhm,
money that you may not see an ROI for
yeah.
a long time. So what would you say they should be prepared for with Google ads?
I think exactly what you're saying is, I mean, we just did one with one of my clients, right? He owns 4 restaurants, and he had never in his ever done Google ads. And I said, well, why don't we try it? And so he did, he's a little older, so he was into commercials and TV, and we all know that TV is for an older generation, and he was trying to get a younger generation. So I think Google ads really is understanding what is your main goal, and then making sure that where we're sending them is effective and will make a conversion and informative. And then third, I think you said it, it's really setting the expectation that this is not an immediate ROI thing. especially if you're just starting out, right? And I think that you can do a lot of like just visibility. There's so many different types of ads that you can run, right? Where Google sends it to people that are more intentional and want this. And I think the difference too between Meta and Google ads, right? Meta ads, we all know, like you and I, we're on Facebook or Instagram because we're just scrolling for entertainment or to see what a family friend did at, their birthday party the day before. So we're not intentionally searching, right? But for most of us, if I go on Google, I'm intentionally searching for something. So, and I think with Google ads is understanding what somebody would be searching for. And you said it earlier, right? Making sure we're using the right keywords, not an internal, like how we use the word, but maybe how somebody like us in the layman's outside world uses, right? And that's important. But I think the expectation is you have at least a month, 30 days of not trial and error, but like seeing kind of where this baseline is, what is showing up. And so when we did the first month with our client, it was interesting. He has restaurants that are not in Waikiki, but it tried to make Waikiki restaurant a searchable term for him. But Waikiki is mostly for tourists, and he's a local driven restaurateur. So it was just the wrong audience. But we didn't know what we didn't know because it's the first time we were running Google ads. So what it allowed us to do, and this is like, you can actually, when you're creating your Google ads, you can actually do negative keywords so that you don't show up and Google doesn't try to present your ad to somebody that types in Waikiki restaurant. So you create a negative keyword list. Now, I don't want to be shown for boats because I'm a motorcycle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you help
Nice.
it do that. So that's what we learned. So have them understand that like that first month or two is learning and understanding who and what Google thinks you are, even though you said it in your headlines. And just, knowing like you got to spend a little bit to understand so you can be more effective, like kind of moving forward.
Yeah. And I love how you said it really has to be focused when you're doing keywords on how your client describes the problem, not how you
Yeah.
would describe the problem. So a lot of
Right.
my clients like to use certain words where I'm like, is that how your people would describe what they need right now or no?
Right.
And usually it's a no. Usually it's some kind of coach language that's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to help you unleash your full potential. But are
Yeah.
they Googling that? Is that the urgent problem right now that they're like, I need to
Yes.
unleash my potential? They're not typing that in probably in
Right.
Google, right? So,
Oh,
so glad you
yes.
said that. And I love how you could
No.
put negative key, like you could say, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be found for these
Yeah.
things. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Right.
So, yeah, what about when it comes to like ads? And I think sometimes people think, well, are the Google ads only for local businesses or could this be online? Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, what's great about Google Ads, right, is it can be for brick and mortar. You're categorizing, you can set where you want the ad to be geographically, right? So I have where geographically in Hawaii, we set a place for the restaurants for these ads to show. But we only did Hawaii, right? Because it doesn't make sense for me to make it for the whole United States because I'm going to have people clicking on it that won't come to it. And that's using our client's ad spend. But I had another client that had a virtual summit, and we were able to geographically place the whole United States because we wanted to make sure we showed. And then you can like set in there a little bit other like kind of like parameters so that it's like, okay, so you want it to be uh, based on maybe what do you want to say? Sorry, the like their geographical like occupation. Sorry, there we go. I
Hmm.
glitched for a second, guys.
All
Apologies.
good.
Um, so and so it's nice and you can do that. And I think what's great is you can go in every day and you can check your Google ads and your Google Analytics, right? You can see the traffic that's coming because in your Google Analytics account, it's going to say paid ads, and it'll show you the traffic that's coming just for paid ads. So you can check in every day on the Google ads and you can make an adjustment. if you're like, whoa, like too much of my money today is being spent, and it really is going to this query that I didn't intend for it to do. And so I think that's kind of like the part that I enjoy, is that you're not locked in, you know what I mean, for the 30 days. So you can really, you just have to be committed to it. It, and you have to look at all the data so you can make a really like informed decision on your next step on what you're going to do,
Yeah. Great
you know?
advice. Yes.
Yeah.
So, what else? Is there anything else that we
Mhm.
haven't touched on that you want to stress the importance of or that you want people to know?
No, I think I just, just when you're sitting there, whether you're a team of one or a team of many, and you're sitting with your marketing team, ask questions. Say, hey, do we use Google Analytics? I want to see a report, because you can generate daily, weekly, monthly reports that get sent to your email. So you can see the data right away at like in a quick, and get used to it. Get used to seeing the numbers, get used to where it becomes normal for you. So it doesn't feel foreign. I know I saw somebody comment, right? Yeah, Google Ads and Google Analytics can be like a little stressful, but I think it is more manageable. It's surprised me if you told high school Selena we would be into something like this, Google Analytics. I would have been like, no, I want to go to the beach and I'll go shopping, but we're not diving into data and geeking out like that. But just there's a lot of literature out there that will help you. I actually have something too, if you want, Hailey. I have a framework that I have for others, and I
Awesome.
can let me put it in. Let me go put it. It's well, it's. I'm gonna put it in the comments. Join the chat. Let me see. Oh no, I'll
Yeah.
just do it in private chat, and Hailey will do it. But
Yeah, we'll
it's
put it in the show notes at
yeah.
haleyrowe.com.
Yes, and it's super easy, but it's just like it kind of like it's a quick little like checklist for you, and it kind of lets you know if your website is I love to use terminology, is your website your best salesperson or your laziest employee. And so this right here is just a little like simple scoring to kind of let you know where you think you are, and it kind of at least gives you next steps on like what you can do to work on your website. Because look, let me be honest with you, you can't have built your website 5 years ago and think that it is a-okay still to this day. It's a constantly evolving thing. So I think getting to look at, like you said, Google Analytics and having it be part of your marketing toolkit. It's one with another client. They're a business consulting firm, and she loves looking at her report, and she'll ask me like, why did somebody come from Uganda? Like, they're a California and Hawaii based business. So I think it's just interesting to know all these different things that you realize what is happening to your website. So I know, I just,
Yeah,
don't be scared, guys. Use it. Let it be
I
part of
love
your
that.
team. Hmm.
Yes, so
Yeah.
definitely check out the framework. We'll put that in the show notes. And how else can people connect with you and find you online?
Yeah. Well, I love hanging out on Instagram. So I'm at the Haoli, Houoli, or on Instagram, Selena Kalamaki. I love having conversations there as well. So hopefully we'll connect and continue conversations.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And thanks everybody for listening. If you love the show, we would love a written review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We really appreciate it. Helps the show get more reach. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Bye.